Yo, what's up guys, hope you guys are doing good. So today we are going to see what if Naruto was a overpowered demon lord and rise above all Shinobi part 1. Hope you will enjoy this video, so before we start please like the video and subscribe to our channel and hit bell notification, it motivates me to upload more fanfics for my lovely audience. So let's get started. Running at his top speed from the forest, Naruto finally sees the target of his pursuit, Sasuke Uchiha, standing on top of one of the two statues that form the waterfall. At last catching up with him after hours of pursuit, Naruto stops on top of the other statue, separated by the waterfall from him, taking a breath and calls out to him. Sasuke. Naruto addresses the boy, who had his back turned to him all this time, and only then did Sasuke turn to face Naruto, revealing his cursed mark effect, with one of his eyes blackened, as he looked at the knuckle-headed shinobi with contempt. So, it's you, hopeless little knucklehead. Sasuke spoke with clear snide. She sent you after me, didn't she? Like I told Sakura, it is all over, so just leave alone. Sasuke wasn't as much asking as he was stating the fact, suspecting that Sakura would have turned to Naruto to get Sasuke back. The last scion of Uchiha clan already had a pretty good idea of how this entire conversation was going to go down, already knowing how Naruto was going to plead to him to come back. Sasuke has already made up his mind, and there was no turning back now from his path, at least that was the case in his mind. However, what he didn't account or expect was what had happened next, as Naruto started to chuckle, and then laugh, first confusing Sasuke, and then actually scaring him. The manner of Naruto's laughter, it was not like he used to be, it was as if he had become a completely different person, from his posture to tone. After about a minute's time, Naruto finally stopped and collected himself, and then he looked at Sasuke with quite a vicious smile, the kind that Sasuke never would have imagined, before he spoke in a tone and voice that made Sasuke feel chills run down his spine. Despite what you might think, Sasuke, I would love nothing more than to finally be rid of your presence. Naruto stated to Sasuke, shocking him a little. However, I'm afraid there is something that I need from you, Sasuke, and I've spent far too much time and effort to simply let it slip away. What are you talking about, Dobi? Sasuke asked of him with an irate confusion. You are making even less sense than you usually do. Is this some kind of a game to you? To that Naruto let out another chuckle. Oh, Sasuke, I am finally done playing games. Naruto told him with a vicious smile, before disappearing from Sasuke's sight, shocking him. And this is who I really am. And that very next moment, Sasuke found himself kicked with incredible force into the statue, crushing its surface and being buried a few centimeters in it, with Sasuke crying out in pain, as he nearly felt his spine break. What the bloody hell? Sasuke asked, as he regained focus, seeing Naruto calmly walking to him, while he got back on his feet. How did you do it? This power, I'd like why you are like him. Sasuke's mind instinctively went to Itachi, for only he could so easily get a jump on him. Oh, trust me, Sasuke, I am nothing like your dear old brother. Naruto responded, while Sasuke was struggling to stay steady on his feet, with Naruto tilting his head a little with a thought. Looks like I underestimated your power up a little. Oh well, you are still alive, and that's what really matters. I don't know what you are trying to accomplish here, Naruto, but my days of playing ninja with you Konoha are over. Sasuke stated to him, as he readied himself. I am going to Orochimaru, and there is nothing you can do to stop me. To that Naruto merely smirked, and then responded. By all means, be my guest, Sasuke. Naruto responded to Sasuke, shocking him. In all actuality, I am not trying to stop you or get you back to Konoha. All I want is something that you have, and once I have it, you can go wherever you so desire. So, why not surprise me and actually let me have what I want, without me having to beat you? Naruto's tone made it clear to Sasuke that Uzumaki had absolute confidence in his ability to defeat Sasuke. Whatever the hell you want from me, You are going to have to take it from me by force. Sasuke stated and then charged Naruto, who smiled at the prospect. As you wish. Naruto responded, and then evaded a punch from Sasuke, before catching his arm like it was nothing. At least I can finally let off some steam. Naruto added, confusing Sasuke. What? Before he could even state his confusion, Sasuke Uchiha found himself propelled into the air from a powerful uppercut, forcing him to spat out blood, before Naruto appeared in midair and then kicking Sasuke back down, forcing him to crash hard on his back into the ground, with Naruto landing just a few steps away. You know, after being forced to look after you and saving your life all those times, this feels very satisfying. More so than I had expected. Naruto remarked, as he walked up to Sasuke and picked him up by his hair, bringing him to his eye level. Are you still with me, Sasuke? Don't tell me you are already out of the game. How can you be so strong? Sasuke asked of him. That, because of the N9-tailed beast. Sasuke weakly said, with Naruto chuckling at it. Oh Sasuke, this is who I really am, what my true power is, and it has nothing to do with that fox stuck inside me. Naruto told him, as he grabbed Sasuke by his throat, lifting him up even more. You have no idea just how refreshing it is, to finally stop playing the fool after so long, I derail, and I am on a timetable here, so hang in there for a moment. Promise it will not hurt. Yin style. Soul transfer. Naruto said, and then from Sasuke's body into Naruto flowed what appeared to be raw chakra, and while Sasuke did not feel any pain, he clearly felt like Naruto had just taken from him something extremely valuable, something that made him who he was. What are you? Once the transferring was complete, Naruto finally dropped Sasuke onto the ground, while he apparently admired himself. What did you steal from me? Naruto looked down on Sasuke and spoke up to him. Nothing that you will be missing, Sasuke, I assure you. Just the soul of your ancestor that has evaded oblivion for far too long and made life miserable for those he had possessed. Just like the one that sat in me did. Naruto told him, further confusing Sasuke, yet he was far too weak to do anything, as Naruto had literally beaten him to a pulp. And now, yin-yang style, incarnation. Naruto clapped his hands, and then the whole area was engulfed in extremely dense red chakra, with Naruto's body literally swallowed by the red chakra, forming what appeared to be a cocoon. Sasuke was feeling that chakra practically burning his flesh and boiling his blood, for it was like being close to the sun and he felt like if he stayed there for far too long. Fortunately for him, soon the chakra began to return into the cocoon, before it all went there, and then the crimson object glowed blinding white, before its scent finally burst in light, nearly blinding Sasuke permanently. If he had his Sharingan active, neither his eyes nor his mind would have survived that day, and so he merely lost conscience for a few moments. Once he came back to it, he opened his eyes through pain and stress, and then he saw a young man, at the very prime of his life, standing and admiring himself. His body was lean and fit, lacking neither bulk nor finesse, with both in equal measure on him, balanced out perfectly, with a fair complexion on his skin. He stood at 6.2 feet, with short silver-white hair framing his aristocratic and strong face, with golden-colored eyes of unnatural beauty to them, with which he examined and admired himself in all its uncovered glory. So, this is what she meant by manifesting my true self, I rather like this new me. The man's voice was new, and yet so familiar, that it allowed Sasuke to finally realize who it was. "And Naruto?" he asked weakly, with the man finally turning to face Sasuke, smiling at him. "Ah, Sasuke, I've all but forgotten you were here. Apologies for the show, a small side effect." The man, or rather knew Naruto, spoke to him, before he grabbed the pouch from the ground and produced a sealing scroll, taking out of it a new change of clothes, quickly putting them on. "Good thing I've come prepared. Wouldn't want to have to steal someone else's garments right after I've become my real self," Naruto said, as he finished tidying up his garments, consisting of the silver-white coat with red details, red shirt beneath it and black pants and shoes, without a single signature of the leaf on it. What? What have you done? Sasuke asked of him, as he finally gathered enough strength to get on his feet, yet too weak to fight, with Naruto looked right at him. What have you become? I have achieved my liberation, Sasuke. Liberation from Leaf, from the chains they've put on me, from the council and Hokage to its people, I am finally free, Sasuke. Naruto stated to him with a smile, as he walked to him, stopping at just the distance for a strike. So, to borrow your earlier words, my days of playing ninja with Konoha are finally over, and now I am finally free. Sasuke was processing the words he heard come out from Naruto, finding it as unbelievable as what he had just witnessed. This doesn't make any sense. Sasuke responded. You can't just betray Konoha like that. Naruto blinked with a little surprise at Sasuke, as he had said something shocking. And what makes you say that? You think that you alone have the right to leave the village, while everyone else just has to put up with its hypocrisy, lies and play along with the people in power. Naruto chuckled at Sasuke, before he regained his seriousness. If anyone has all the right reason to leave that hellhole, that's me, Sasuke. All my life in there had been nothing more than torment, misery and veritable agony, my existence and my life reduced to nothing more than a pawn and tool in the hands of those arrogant bastards, who thought they owned me like a thing of theirs. All of them, Sarutobi, the council, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kakashi, they all thought they could just use me for their own means, for their precious village, to serve their vaunted will of fire. Naruto practically spat it out. Then all this time, for how long? Sasuke tried to wrap his head around it all. How long have I hated the village? I believe I did so from the moment I could understand that the world around hated me, so I hated the village back. Naruto responded. If you are referring to what I just did, I've been planning this for 8 years, ever since I turned 5, since the day when the villagers nearly had done me in during one of their fox hunts, when I met someone who had opened my eyes on the world, who I was in the truth. Are you talking about the 9 tails? Sasuke asked of him, with Naruto shaking his head. Oh no, Sasuke. You see, along with the soul of the Kyuubi, Lord Fourth had also sealed inside of me another entity, something which had helped him and his wife survive that fateful night and leave with their children. Naruto revealed to Sasuke, shocking him. Oh yeah, you don't know about it, that they are alive and well. Anyway, the point is that I was left in the village as bait, a diversion for the enemies of the Fourth, while he and his wife trained and brought up their precious holders of Kyuubi's power. And inside me, there also resides a being not of this world, one that had been robbed of its freedom, power and even body by those 2 bastards, and so, on the brink of my death, she and I have finally met, and then we formed a pact. What are you talking about? Sasuke still didn't understood what Naruto was talking about. What is this entity? Well, you could call it a contract. She will help me achieve my freedom from Leaf and gain power not seen for millennia, and I will help her regain that which she lost. Naruto continued. As for what it is, I doubt you had ever heard about her, but she is what some could call a demon. A being outside of our world, one that had existed before the creation of the world of Shinobi, and who possesses powers that could make even Kyuubi look tame. She is known as Grimori, so if you are interested, ask Orochimaru when you get to him about her. I imagine he would have plenty to tell you about her. And you are just going to let me go, just like that? Sasuke still couldn't believe Naruto, who simply nodded to him. Like I said earlier, you can go wherever you wish. I've already taken all that I needed from you. Naruto responded to Sasuke, before he raised his head. Though I imagine that these 2 may mind you leave Konoha. Sasuke looked to where Naruto was looking, and saw Kakashi Hatake and Jiraiya both looking at Naruto with clearest shock and terror, while Naruto simply smirked at them. So then, did you enjoy my little confession? You knew they were there? Sasuke asked of Naruto. Of course, why else would I monologue so much? Just so you would understand what is happening. May be a surprise to you, Sasuke, but you hardly warrant that such a privilege. Naruto responded, without even looking at Sasuke. Unlike these two, I've been waiting to do this for a long time. Naruto smiled at the two, as they've landed from the statue onto the ground. Naruto, do you have any idea as to what you have done? Jiraiya asked of Naruto. You couldn't even begin to comprehend. Comprehend what? That I've ruined your master plan decades in the making, that I've spat in the face of your prophecy and all the sacrifices Konoha has made. Naruto asked with a vicious smile. Why, that was the very intention behind my plan, Toad Sage, to hurt you for all the years you've made my life miserable. And I am not yet through, for I still have the Wonder Twins and their precious parents to pay a visit. The clear killing intent behind Naruto's words wasn't lost on anyone. Naruto, you can't do this. Lord Fourth and Lady Kushina, they are your parents and their children are your sisters. They had to make a difficult decision on that day, but you must understand that whatever that demon had told you, it only uses you for its own means. Jiraiya told Naruto. Look, kid, it's not too late. Just come with us peacefully and we'll work it out. And how, exactly? By wiping out my memory again. Indoctrinating me through Yamanaka one more time, or we'll be seals again. Naruto asked of Jiraiya, making it clear he knew all about what was done to him. You can thank Grimori for protecting my mind, for otherwise I would indeed have ended up as a knuckle-headed idiot. And as for using me for one's own means, I could say the same about you and those two, for that is exactly what you did with me and Grimori. Even still, there is still a chance to do the right thing, Naruto. Kakashi spoke up. Come back with us and Sasuke, and you do not get it, do you, Kakashi? I have long since made my choice, and you should know by now that I never go back on my own decision. Naruto told him, before turning to Sasuke. And as for you, Sasuke, I think I'll lend you a helping hand, so give my regards to the Snake Sanin. Without saying another word, Naruto put his hand on Sasuke's shoulder, and then the Uchiha was gone from sight, shocking both of Konoha's veteran shinobi. What did you do to him? Jiraiya shouted in shock. Delivered him in the hands of Orochimaru, just like he wanted. Naruto responded like it was but a trifle. After all the planning and the effort I put in just to getting here, and seeing it all come to fruition, I felt it was right to be magnanimous. Plus it's always a joy to stick it to you Konoha. At this moment, both of the shinobi ready to do battle with Naruto, with simply smiled at them. Whatever the hell you've become now, you've just signed your death warrant, kid. Jiraiya stated to him, as he and Kakashi prepared to attack him. You may've beaten the Uchiha brat, but you are 100 years too young to even think of tangling with us. To this Naruto simply chuckled. Surrender now, Naruto, and Lady Hokage may be merciful upon you. Kakashi told him. Do not force us to kill you. To this Naruto almost laughed. Oh, you would be fortunate to simply survive me now. Naruto responded to them, as the two were about to attack him. However, as much as I would like to savor this opportunity, I do have places to be, so I'll leave you with a parting gift. Wood style. Deep forest emergence. Naruto weaved the hand signs, and in the very next moment, the earth erupted as the colossal trunks of trees sprouted all around them. Within mere seconds, the entire valley of the End and surrounding grounds were once more transformed, as the statues of Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju collapsed, as the new forest and trees came to existence with such swiftness and power that the ground shook for miles around. The lake, river and waterfall were completely covered by the massive trees, while the forest around them now looked like bushes, as the massive creations span miles upon miles, reaching hundreds of meters in height. Such sight had not been seen since the days of Hashirama Senju, with the area now looking a lot more like Forest of Death, and in the depths of it, Kakashi Hatake and Jiraiya were struggling to free themselves from the vines and branches, which threatened to crush them to death. At the last second, Jiraiya had managed to perform a summoning jutsu, which saved both him and Kakashi, as they were now on top of Gamabunta, chief of Toad Clan. Jiraiya, where the hell did you just summon me? I can't even move in here, what is this damn hellhole? Gamabunta demanded an answer. Bunta, there's no time to explain. You've gotta take us to MT Myoboku, and send a message to Minato and Tsunade. Jiraiya urged him. Naruto, he's gone rogue. That dumb pipsqueak who couldn't even summon me without Fox's help. What's so threatening about him? Gamabunta asked of him. He's just a decoy, with the real power inside Minato's kids, and he's got next to no training, so. Bunta, this forest is Naruto's doing. I don't know how, but that brat had somehow gotten this kind of power, and worse yet, he has been playing us all for fools for years. Jiraiya said to Gamabunta. He knows everything, and he has been in contact with Grimoire. Hearing that name immediately made Gamabunta shake a little. Grimoire. How in the world did he, you fool? Pa warned you all that one doesn't mess with demons, especially one of her caliber. And you fucking deceived her and used her as power battery to put those seals, before sealing her inside Naruto. Gamabunta raged. What did you think was going to happen? Did ya all really think that even if you've stripped it of its power, you would be safe from her? Look, just do as I say. If we don't hurry, gods know what that boy will do, Jiraiya urged him, as he already had a very bad feeling of what was going to happen. Namikaze Mansion. Sometime later. Situated just outside of the fire capital, the Namikaze clan's mansion wasn't exactly the most lavish or expansive out there in the fire capital, but compared to that of Konoha clan's adobes, it stood out as rather luxurious and spacious in grounds and in buildings. This came from the benefit of the Namikaze clan having long served directly to the fire daimyo and having made their way from mere vagabond ninja clan into nobility of Land of Fire, while still maintaining their traditions and ways of shinobi, though serving directly to the daimyo instead of Hokage. This granted the clan a certain level of independence in actions and ways, but the clan's leadership still preferred to maintain at least cordial relations with Konoha, hence why from time to time they sent out members of their clan to study and train as regular shinobi, with the last one being Minato Namikaze himself, the venerable fourth Hokage. Born as but another son of the Namikaze's branch family, he had managed to rise above his station and had earned himself the spot in the main family, which allowed him to save his daughters from being born into branch family, and hence subjected to life of servitude. Much like Hyuga clan of Konoha, Namikaze clan was also divided into the main and branch families, with the former being rulers, and the latter servants, with the division having been created hundreds of years ago after a civil war within the clan. Those that would later become main family had won and enforced their will on the losers, and now their descendants were still paying the price, living as little more than servants, with their existence relegated to being to that of serfdom, with only select few from the branch family being allowed to become members of the main family. Centuries of unequal treatment, power plays within the clan, ambitions and more have long since eroded much of unity within the supposedly powerful clan, and now all that was needed for a new calamity to erupt is but a single spark. And that spark was currently moving towards the gates of the compound, in form of Naruto Uzumaki in his new form, observing 5 Namikaze members guarding the gates. Once he reached the gates, the Namikaze guards and their leader prepared to attack him, with the latter stepping forth and speaking to him in an arrogant tone. Halt right there, outsider. You are trespassing upon the Namikaze clan's soil, and you even dare to approach our home. The man's clear disdain and arrogance were as clear as they could be to Naruto, while he put his hand on his blade. You have one chance to remove yourself from my sight, before you taste my blade. Unfortunately, I cannot do that, for I have business with some of your clan's members beyond that gate. Naruto responded, with the man and other guards already gripping their weapons in expectation of trouble. Seeing as you aren't likely to let me in peacefully, I shall ask this instead. Are all of you members of the branch family, or do some of you belong to the main family? Naruto suddenly asked of them, with the leader looking at him with confusion. What difference does it make to you, outsider? He asked of him, before he answered in an arrogant tone. But I will indulge this last request of yours, so here is your answer. I, Kenta Namikaze, am the keeper of gates and proud member of the main family of Namikaze, in command of these serfs from the branch families, and I shall take your life for myself. He proudly announced, with Naruto smiling to him. That is all that I needed to hear. Thank you, Naruto responded. And then Kenta Namikaze's body being sent right through the thick gates and landing on the grounds of Namikaze clans as a mangled and broken mess of flesh and bones, with Naruto calmly walking inside the compound's grounds, with the rest of the guards frozen in place through genjutsu. And just as Naruto had cleared out of the dust and smoke he had created, he found himself staring at what appeared to be the entirety of the fighting force of Namikaze clan. Armed and ready, they were prepared to destroy Naruto, when a man of an age just a few years younger than later third Hokage, vaguely resembling Minato Namikaze, stepped forth and spoke to Naruto. You must have a death wish, if you dare to intrude upon our sanctum like you did. The man said with clearest disdain. Not even in the great Shinobi Wars was my clan ever invaded so boldly, for all knew what awaited them. Whatever is it that you've come seeking, you'll not find it, so make peace with your life's choices while you still can, mongrel. Yes, you do appear to be half correct in it. Naruto said with a carefree tone, confusing the Namikaze's clan head. So, Minato and Kushina are away for some reason, but their twins are inside. That's a bit disappointing, but oh well, I was ultimately after them from the start, so I'll just get them right away. The Namikaze's main family members all drew out their weapons and ready to fight, with the head of the Namikaze family drawing out his clan's heirloom sword. Arrogant fool, if you think you'll just be able to get past us, then you are even madder than thought. The man called at Naruto. I am Yorinobu Namikaze, the golden lion of the Namikaze clan, and in 100 battles of fought, not one enemy had ever managed to even wound me. What makes you think? The man was about to go on a tirade, but was cut short when a crimson segmented chain in a form of a thin barbed scale tail with a spear's tip on its end, pierced his heart and found its way out of his back. Moving his hand with grace, Naruto drove his own adamantine chain straight out of the dead Namikaze clan's head and then sent them at the main family members, bisecting and decapitating a dozen in one swing before anyone could react. The moment that the other members of the main family started to move, Naruto simply smiled, and then he extended the chain and sent it flying at blinding speed, with its sharp tip piercing and stringing along all that its master wanted. Before any Namikaze could even reach him, Naruto's single chain had not just reached them, but quite literally strung them along itself, forming a gruesome scene of over 30 men of Namikaze floating in the air, their hearts all pierced and connected via the chain. Dispelling the chain and letting the bodies drop, Naruto turned his head towards the survivors and spoke up. Now then, does this fulfill the terms of our agreement on my end, Haruto? Naruto suddenly asked of one of them, with the man soon responding. It does. Now, it's our term. And with this, Haruto Namikaze, younger brother to Minato Namikaze and unofficial leader of the branch family, struck with his kunai into the closest member of the main family, shocking the remaining members. Now, Namikaze, time has come. Let us end this tyranny once and for all. And with this the branch family has finally committed themselves into the battle, as they slaughtered the unprepared and surprised members of the main family, with Naruto observing the scene with a smile, before speaking up to Haruto once the deed was done. I see you weren't kidding, when you said that your people were hungry for blood. Naruto commented, as he looked at the end of this slaughter, with Haruto turning to him. No regrets over the deed. For hundreds of years, these bastards have turned our mothers, daughters and sisters into pleasure slaves, selling them off to each other or to whoever offered the most coin, while men were serfs and toiled under their whips, while the main family reaped all the rewards. Haruto responded to Naruto. Minato was supposed to change it all, like he promised, yet instead he chose to embrace being one of the slavers, so, no regrets whatsoever, and unlike him, you did keep your word, Naruto. Haruto noted with a smile, to which Naruto chuckled. With all the lies and deceptions I've had to use, Being able to keep my word has always been something of a comfort to me. Naruto noted, before speaking up in a more serious tone. Now then, I take that in the event of an attack the twins were instructed to be evacuated, seeing as I'm no longer sensing their presence in here. Am I right? Nothing escapes you. Yes, the moment you've showed up to our sensors, Yorinobu had the twins sent to a safe house outside of the premises. Haruto responded. Only Minato, Kushina and their trusted main line members know where it is, so I'm afraid I was unable to keep that part of the bargain. Not to worry, I've already accounted for it, and I have it under control. A few more minutes, and all will be over. Naruto assured him, before turning towards the entrance. And in the meantime, I'll entertain myself with these two. Naruto said with a smile, as he, Haruto and the rest of the Namikaze clan saw Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki appear and observe the slaughter, already prepared for the battle. So, Jiraiya was not lying. Of all the people, you were last one I would expect to commit such heinous crimes, Naruto. Minato stated with clear anger in his eyes, while Naruto simply smirked at him. Not only did you betray the Leaf, your comrades and friends, but to attack our clan like this. My own son has become worse than scum. Minato commented, as he drew out his signature kunai. Like you and Kushina are holier than thou, and if you really didn't expect me to go rogue after all that Leaf had put me through, then you are either too naive, or too overconfident, Minato. Naruto commented, as he took in the sight in their eyes. Besides, we both know that I've stopped being your son long ago, so it's pointless to thread down that road. At this point, the sole connection we share is the fact that you have ruined my life since the day I was born, and I am here to collect on the debt you've incurred. And what is it that you seek, Naruto? Revenge's path with no end, leading only to loneliness and suffering. Kushina told him, surrender now, son. Even with Wood's style and my chains, you are outmatched. Against the combined might of Namikaze clan and the two of us, not even Madara Uchiha would be able to win here today. I think you overestimate your fighting strength. Don't they, Haruto? Naruto turned to Haruto, who nodded to him, shocking both Minato and Kushina. Take a closer look, you two, and see that all those that would have lent you a hand are all dead, and those that remain would love nothing more than to see you gone. The remaining Namikaze were all more than ready to prove Naruto's words true. No, it can't be. Haruto, how could you do this to our family? Minato asked of him, with Haruto scoffing at him. You've helped Naruto orchestrate this entire thing. You and the rest of them would kill our family, all for what? What did Naruto promise to you? Wealth, power, forbidden jutsu. Only what you had promised to me and our mother all those years ago, right before you went to your precious village, freedom from the main family. Haruto responded, and motioned to the gruesome scene around them. Only unlike you and your harlot, who were all too happy to become one of those leeches, he delivered on his promise to me in the fullest. Who do you call harlot, you bastard? Kushina called out with anger, her hair splitting into the dreaded 9 tails. I'll bury you and your wretched wife and kids alive with my own hands. And after that, she sent out her golden chains at Haruto, only for a single chain from Naruto to destroy them, shocking Kushina and Minato, for Naruto didn't appear to have broken a sweat at that. I'm afraid that you won't be getting your wish today, Kushina, for your fight is with me and me alone. Naruto told them with a vicious smile. I'd recommend withdrawing from here, Haruto. It's going to become rather inhospitable in here for anyone. Hope you won't mind some collateral damage along the way. Not at all. Do as you please, Naruto. Haruto told him, and then signaled for all of the Namikaze to evacuate, and they did so immediately, swiftly leaving the compound and the grounds entirely deserted, with only Naruto and his former parents being sole people present within 5-mile radius. I will ask you, Naruto, what is it that you seek to accomplish here today, Naruto? Minato asked of him, trying to comprehend what Naruto's plan really was. Do you think that by killing us today, you'll have achieved something of meaning? You have already betrayed the Leaf, aided an enemy of the village, attacked and nearly killed your sensei and one of the Sannin. By all accounts, you've become as big of a traitor as Itachi Uchiha. Do you think that this is something that Leaf and the other villages will let slide? Oh, but you see, I am not here to kill either of you, Minato. Naruto told him. Since you and Kushina are so curious, I'll tell you exactly why I've come here. I'm after the same thing as the masked man that nearly killed you all those years ago. Naruto smirked, with Minato and Kushina widening their eyes in realization. You are after Nine Tails' power. Kushina said, before her hand reached her katana. You are planning to release the beast and have it destroy Konoha. Is this what that fiend has been using you for? Naruto, if you extract the beast from the Jinchuriki, then the host will die, unless they are as tough as Uzumaki are. I am aware of that, naturally. Naruto finished for Kushina. As tempting as this thought is, that's not exactly what I have in mind. While what you've left of Kyuubi inside of me was useful, I do need it at full power for what I have planned next, hence why I am here. Then you are wasting your time, Naruto. If you are as knowledgeable as you think you are, then you should have already figured out that your sisters aren't here anymore. Minato stated to Naruto. By now, they are halfway to Konoha by now, while you are still here with us. And with this, Minato threw his kunai straight at Naruto, before rushing at him with full speed. Naruto responded by charging at Minato with full speed, kunai flying straight at him, simply dodging him by moving his head a little bit away, right as he and Minato powered up their Rasengans. And then, the moment Naruto was about to send his right at Minato, the yellow flash disappeared before his eyes and reappeared above and behind Naruto, catching his kunai much like he did 13 years ago. Then, mirroring his act on that faithful night, he struck his fully powered Rasengan into Naruto's back, crushing him under the full weight and power of the forbidden jutsu, seemingly destroying him. Once the dust and smoke had settled, all that remained was a crater and Minato on the bottom of it, looking at the mangled corpse of Naruto, thinking he and Kushina heard a slow clapping. Turning their eyes, they widened, as they saw Naruto standing not 5 meters away, clapping with a smile, completely and utterly unharmed, while the one on the bottom of the crater dissolved into compost, revealing itself to being a clone of some kind. So, this is the infamous flying Raijin Jutsu in combination with the Rasengan, very impressive. Naruto complimented with a final clap. I can see how someone unprepared would be caught off guard with it. But I had 8 years to do my homework, and Grimoire was more than happy to provide the details I needed to fill in the gaps. But that's impossible, that couldn't have been a clone, it was too powerful. Kushina said with shock, as her sensory abilities kicked in again. Jiraiya told us that Naruto had no idea on how to properly divide chakra among clones, so it's impossible he could have made a decoy. To that Naruto simply laughed. I think it is safe to assume that all you believed you knew about me is a subject of serious debate. And as for the clones, I've had more than enough time to master its every aspect, since I've learned long before I stole that scroll. Naruto told them, as then additional 20 clones revealed themselves to Minato and Kushina, surrounding them in the compound. Simply getting more numbers will not improve your odds, Naruto. Minato told him as he readied his numerous kunai. No matter what, you will not find victory here today. To that Naruto simply laughed at him. Oh, Minato, if only you knew, Naruto told him with a smirk, before he and all other clones suddenly formed a hand sign. But then again, you'll probably know soon enough. Minato and Kushina realized exactly what that sign meant, and the yellow flash rushed to his wife at his full speed. The next second, the entirety of the Namikaze compound became an imitation of hell, as the clones exploded with enough force to flatten every tree in the 3 miles radius, while vaporizing all that was within a mile's radius, turning the grounds, buildings and woods into burning hellscape, where not even microbes could survive. Next moment, a quick sound of the teleportation was heard throughout the safe house, as Minato and Kushina reappeared in the world, with the 4th Hokage having managed to reach his wife in time and teleport them out of the danger. His choice was as obvious to Minato as it was to Kushina, for it was the hideout where they were supposed to find their daughters in an event of an attack on the compound, known to very select few, or so they had thought. Without even noticing, sensing or hearing a thing, both Minato and Kushina found themselves pinned into the wall, with a crimson scale chain sticking out of each of them, having pierced their shoulders, disabling their right arms. Getting over the sharp pain, they looked and saw Naruto staring right back at them with a smile, while their daughters, Mito and Narumi, laid immobile on the floor, their guards all dead. Immediately realizing what had happened, they both had attempted to set themselves free, yet found themselves completely unable to do anything, as the chains pinned them very hard to the wall, and their chakra was not responding to them. You certainly took your time getting here, Naruto commented with a smile, as he turned to look at the girls. Sadly, you've missed the entire drama of reunion and first impressions, but to sum it all up for you, they were rather shocked and surprised to see me, but were resolute in refusing my request. So, I had to persuade them. Naruto said the last with a smirk. Naruto, how could you? Why you killed your own sisters? Minato said through the pain, as he tried to pry himself away from the chain, but failed. The girls are alive, though quite a bit lighter on the chakra side, so to speak. Naruto told Minato, as he observed their collective struggles to get out of the chains. I would not bother if I were in your spot. Unlike Kushina's chains, mine are a good deal more powerful, and have a few additional attributes to them, such as nullification of a person's chakra transmission and flow. In other words, I have just rendered both of you veritably powerless and you are now completely at my mercy, much like you had done with me all those years ago. Naruto reminded them, taking no small amount of pleasure in the fact that he had rendered his birth parents to the same position he had to endure for so long. And what do you intend to do now? Kushina asked of him with a near snarl. Will you prove to be a complete scumbag and kill us? At that moment Naruto's chains moved, and both Minato and Kushina cried out in agony, as it felt like a pulse of chakra was sent through their systems, lighting their nerves and chakra network ablaze. Now that is a very tempting idea and one that Grimoire approves of as well, Naruto admitted, seemingly preparing to do just that, before he finally ceased agonizing his birth parents through chakra, finally letting them breathe a little bit easier. But I think I'll hold off doing that just now. After all, it would be quite unfair from me to let you off the hook with just a quick and decisive death. Oh no, you do not get to die until I decide so. So for now, I'll just collect some advance payment. And then, Naruto's chains moved again with blinding speed, and in the moment's notice both Kushina and Minato were again on the ground, only now each missing their respective right arm, as they fell near them, as the two winced from pain. And Naruto, whatever is it you are planning, we'll stop you. Minato promised to him, with Naruto smiling in a vicious way to Minato. You and Grimoire, why you will not get away with this, Konoha, we will find you and stop you. To that Naruto simply knelt before Minato and spoke to him directly. Feel free to try, Minato. Naruto challenged him, as he rose up and looked at both him and Kushina. Jiraiya and Kakashi are on their way here. Do try not to bleed to death before they arrive, for it would spoil my mood. Till next we meet. And with this said, Naruto teleported out of the hideout that very moment, leaving the Hokage's family defeated and beaten in the pool of the parents' blood. 3 days later, Konoha's hospital. Though it had been 3 days already since one of the biggest disasters in the history of Leaf Village, Konoha's leadership and those who had created their plan were only now starting to realize the full extent of the calamity that Naruto had brought upon them. The former blonde knuckle-headed prankster indeed had pulled the biggest prank on them all, having completely and utterly fooled all into believing that he was exactly what he was supposed to be, a headstrong dim-witted fool, easy to use and manipulate. If Shinobi's greatest ability is deception, then Naruto had set a new gold standard in that category, for he had fooled the entirety of Konoha, from citizens all the way to the council and Hokage, and had now done what hasn't been done since Madara's days. To say that Konoha's position was precarious would be the understatement of the decade, for Konoha had lost their most powerful advantage they had over all other villages, the strongest tailed beast in existence. And to make the matters even worse was the fact that Naruto had rendered both Minato and Kushina into cripples, having severed their right arms completely off, with the news of it spreading like wildfire through the lands, as well as the ones of their survival. Fortunately, they did manage to avoid the disclosure of the fact that Kyuubi was no longer in their possession, but that was a small blessing, for no one had any idea as to where did Naruto go, what his plans were and what did he plan to do with Kyuubi. In order to try and piece it together, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Kushina, Minato and Kakashi were gathered in the hospital room, allocated to Minato and Kushina, where they were now staying and healing. The first one to speak up was Minato, as he addressed Jiraiya and Tsunade. Have you been able to locate Naruto? He asked directly of them, with both shaking their heads. No luck on this front. He just up and vanished without a trace, and we have neither a clue, nor a hint of where he could be. Tsunade answered. The Anbu dispatched to the land of waves returned empty-handed, as did the ones sent to land of waterfalls and land of winds, or any other possible location. Clearly, the brat knew where we would be looking for him, and has left not a clue as to where he would go. He ain't much a brat anymore, Jiraiya sighed in a defeated way. I've tried to reverse summon him to MT Myoboku, but it turns out that he had somehow cancelled his contract with the Toads. I've checked the scroll, and where his name was there appeared only a blank space. When I showed it to Ma and Pa, they were as shocked as I was, 'cause it ain't never happened before. They say it's almost impossible for someone to just up and break their contract like it had never existed. Under normal circumstances, maybe, but with Grimoire, it's more than likely that she would know of a way to break a contract with a summon, as powerless as she is. Kushina said with a bitter tone, before letting out a defeated sigh. Mito always said that her knowledge exceeds that of all Konoha's scrolls and secrets, and I'm inclined to believe she was right on that. Forgive me for asking, but why exactly did you seal such a dangerous entity inside Naruto? Kakashi asked of them. Sensei, was there no alternative, other than that? Unfortunately, there wasn't. Minato sighed. On that night, while Kushina had summoned Grimoire through their contract, I summoned the Shinigami, and we made a deal, Grimoire's life in exchange for his assistance in sealing Kyuubi. He agreed, and so Kyuubi was split between the three, with Naruto taking the soul, but there was also the matter of Grimoire's soul. Much like tailed beasts, demons are able to return to life after a certain period of time, even if they were physically destroyed, so the Shinigami sealed in Naruto. We believed that the seal would prevent Naruto from ever making a contact with Grimoire, but it seems we've underestimated her. Naruto did mention that he had been planning this since he turned 5, now I remember. On his 5th birthday, the villagers had managed to catch him and beat him to the point of putting him into a state clinical death. Kakashi recalled. The Anbu were slow to react, and they nearly did him for good that time, and he had to spend over 2 months in the hospital until he actually woke up. Could it be that this event had somehow triggered his meeting with Grimoire? It is likely that it is the case here. Minato agreed, as he thought about all that he had heard and knew so far. Perhaps that experience had somehow loosened the seals, or Grimoire had found a loophole through which she contacted Naruto. Either way, it's clear that without her assistance, Naruto would never have become who he is now. Maybe, but that brat also had done a damn good work of playing the part of the fool. Jiraiya spoke up. He had every single one of us fooled the entire time, diligently playing the role until he was ready to move, although this begs the question, why did he act now of all times? If he had all this planned for so long, then why wait and play the fool all this time? And what's with the sudden transformation? Was that his real form, or something else? No, it was something else entirely, Lord Jiraiya, I am certain of it. Kakashi spoke up. The fact that Naruto only revealed it after he had gotten to Sasuke, and then there was that massive burst of chakra right beforehand, it's safe to say that Naruto only achieved it after he had gotten to Sasuke. Maybe had used Sasuke's chakra to achieve that transformation. With the amount of power and chakra that the kid achieved, I doubt that the Uchiha would have been able to give him enough. No, there is clearly something that we are missing. Jiraiya noted, before noticing something. He was also able to use wood style, but there are none alive who could have taught him that, and deep forest emergence was Lord First's signature move. How would he had been able to know the signs for it? The only source on those is the forbidden scroll of seals, but only Hokage has access to it. Had access, at least, until that brat had stolen and replaced it with a fake one. Tsunade revealed to everyone, shocking all. When I heard of the wood style, I had a hunch and decided to check the scroll, and I found out that it was nothing more but a bloody dud. The brat had put on it a special genjutsu seal that showed whoever was looking at it an illusion of what they most expected to see. On the night when Brat stole the actual scroll, he had switched it with the dud, and Sensei didn't suspect a thing. Wait, does that mean that the forbidden scroll is also amiss? Minato asked, with Tsunade shaking her head. No, we had it back, at least for a moment, before it was destroyed. Tsunade revealed to them. Naruto had left the scroll in his very apartment where Anbu had found it, but the moment they've decided to open and check its contents, the scroll combusted and was burned to ashes. The brat clearly had left it as a message, stating that he no longer had any need of it, but wasn't going to let us have it either. It just keeps getting better and better, Jiraiya said with a groan. I do have to wonder, when and how did he have the time to learn from it? I mean, he was under surveillance most of the time, and had next to no opportunity to act independently. Shadow clones. Kushina answered, getting everyone's attention. Naruto said it himself, that he learned the shadow clone jutsu long before he stole the scroll. Even as a child, he would still have more than enough chakra to make clones, and with them he could virtually be in several places at once, without drawing attention, and if he had mastered the shadow clones, then it's only natural he would have learned transformation beforehand. The brat did seem to have a special talent towards it, not gonna lie, Jiraiya admitted. So he had the clones doing the studying, training and whatever else he was up to, even collaborating with Haruto and his rebels. Speaking of which, what's going to be done with them? Jiraiya asked of Tsunade, who let out a defeated sigh. I was prepared to send a company to deal with them, but then Fire Daimyo sent a missive, informing me that he had personally resolved the situation, determining that what had happened was in favor of him. Apparently, Haruto presented to Daimyo proof of Yorinobu and main family covertly supporting Fire Daimyo's enemies, preparing to instigate a coup, and so Haruto and his branch family took action. Tsunade let out a sigh. In short, Haruto and his Namikaze are now seen as heroes and protectors of Land of Fire, and as for Minato and Kushina, since Lord Daimyo knew nothing of your survival, he is more than a little suspicious of you. As it stands, if we make any form of move against the Namikaze, we'll be signing a confession of participating in conspiracy against Lord Daimyo. Meaning, that now Haruto controls Clan Namikaze, and Naruto has a powerful ally in him. He and Grimoire had planned this perfectly. Minato admitted with clear disdain. And the worst part is that he didn't even have to forge a thing about the coup. You mean that there are evidences of your participation in it? Tsunade asked of Minato, who nodded to her. Then why the hell didn't he reveal it to Daimyo right away? Probably because Naruto didn't want it. Minato suggested. Still, with all of this planning, with all of these plots, he still needed to find some way to train himself. He couldn't have self-trained himself like he did, and even with Grimoire's help, there is only so much he could do to physically improve himself. He had to have had a teacher and a way of training without drawing any suspicion towards himself. Those chains, Kushina muttered. What about them, Kushina? Minato asked of her. Naruto's chains. The chains are each unique and are said to be manifestation of an individual Uzumaki's soul and will, and Naruto's are his own, and yet, I think I saw their likeness once. Kushina spoke up. Back in Uzu, there were stories of a legendary warrior queen, who had transcended mortality and become a ruler of her own realm, and that her signature weapon was one of a barbed crimson red spear. It's said that she also took in apprentices, and those that survived her brutal training became unrivaled warriors. You don't actually think that Naruto had actually managed to become one of those apprentices, do you, Kushina? Tsunade asked of her. Considering all that he has done so far, I think it's safe to think that this is also a possibility. Kushina said. However, what bothers me the most is what is Naruto's plan, exactly. He has Kyuubi in its entirety, and with his new power, he would have more than enough power to launch an attack, and yet he just left without a trace. It could very well be that his plan doesn't involve attacking Konoha just yet. Kakashi pitched in. Perhaps he has the same plan as the Akatsuki. Maybe. Oh no, Kushina's face suddenly gone pale, as realization finally dawned on her. Oh, of course, how could we not see it? It was obvious from the start. Kushina, what are you talking about? Minato asked of her. Naruto, he is planning to revive Gremory. Kushina stated to all. This is why he needed Kyuubi. Meanwhile, Island of Uzu. The Isle of Uzu was once a site of a thriving community of a powerful and feared Uzumaki clan, the place where sealing arts were said to have been born and where some of the most powerful warriors in all of elemental nations were said to come from. Once this was indeed a sight to behold, but now it was nothing more but ruins and desolated graveyard, serving only as haunted grounds for all those Uzumaki who had perished at the hands of the combined might of 4 shinobi villages and their forces. A single clan against 4/5 of all shinobi forces in the world, the thought made Naruto chuckle a little, not out of malice, but out of pride to be able to bear such a name. Indeed, there were few things in which Naruto openly took pride, but his name, the one thing that truly he considered his own and belonging to none else, was one such thing, and now he was where it had come from, about to do something that only a true Uzumaki would be able to accomplish. Even though it had been over 8 years now, he always envisioned that coup de grace of his plan would be delivered here, one place that always wished to visit, and where he knew for a fact that Konoha would never show up. After all, there was absolutely nothing of worth any more in here, no secrets or jutsu to pillage, no Uzumaki to exploit, nothing, hence why the Isle of Uzu had been abandoned for so very long and forgotten by all. This had made it a perfect spot for Naruto to secretly set up shop in here. Through the usage of his clones he had covertly created something of a base of operations in here, complete with all that he would need to operate independently from all. It had been quite an endeavor to set it up without drawing anyone's notice, which was expedited quite a great deal after he had seized all of Gato's assets and rights on his shipping company back in Wave, without anyone noticing a thing. Truly, if only Konoha, Tsunade or anyone else knew of the fact that Naruto not only was he smarter than he appeared, but has also created himself quite a massive fortune from the shadows, engaging in all manners of trade and businesses, and all without showing his real face to anyone. Thanks to Gremory's teachings, he was able to operate a number of businesses in various parts of the world through different aliases and identities, which served to further his ambitions and goals through stable funding. By the time he was ready to actually graduate, he was already richer than most of Konoha's clans put together, but he couldn't quite well show it. After all, he needed to maintain his disguise until he was finally able to gain what he really needed from Konoha, or rather Sasuke, and that being the soul of Indra Utsutsuki. He was aware of Indra and Ashura, of their grudge and battle, and the cycle of reincarnations, all thanks to Gremory, and it was she who revealed to him a way to not only be free of Ashura, but to gain his and Indra's powers all for himself. She had assisted him in separating Ashura's soul from his own, and then slowly, through years of careful and deliberate energetic surgery, she weaved Ashura's abilities, powers and secrets out of his soul and into Naruto's, a process that was started the moment he made a pact with Gremory and was finished right before his graduation. By that time, he had already known who Indra's next vessel was, and Naruto prepared to act, but he decided to wait and use the time to gain more power and prepare even more for his eventual liberation, as well as to wait for a perfect opportunity to get Sasuke alone and away from prying eyes. While he was waiting, he spent his time studying the Forbidden Scroll thoroughly and enjoying learning its many secrets, from wood style to reanimation jutsu to other interesting things. Once he was done, it seemed like fate was smiling upon him, as it delivered a perfect opportunity to get Sasuke. As he fled to Orochimaru, so Naruto used this opportunity to get Indra's soul, and with it in his possession, he completed one of his main objectives: assimilation and obtainment of all the powers and abilities of both Ashura and Indra. With his body already prepared for the new incarnation, thanks to Ashura's power, Naruto didn't have to waste time taking Indra's power bit by bit, and just took it all in one go, and so was reborn anew, free of all the bonds to Konoha and his former parents, a completely new being. And now was time to finally complete his plan. With the final pieces of the puzzle well in his hands, Naruto waved his hands and performed the forbidden jutsu. Forbidden summoning. Reaper. He called out, and soon on the ground opened up the portal into the void, from which materialized the Shinigami himself, who looked down upon Naruto. You summon me, Naruto Uzumaki. State your business. Shinigami spoke in a voice that could only belong to death alone. Lord Shinigami, I have come to make a deal with you, for you possess that which I desire, while I hold that which interests you. Naruto called to him, clearly getting Shinigami's interest. I wish for you to give me the body of the creature known as Grimoire, and to return to this world the body of one known as Barghest. The demand clearly surprised Shinigami. The Demon Duchess and the Black Hound of Destruction, that which you ask I had acquired through summons. What do you have to offer in exchange? Shinigami asked of him. I offer souls of Indra and Ashura for them, the two beings that had long since evaded true death and defied your will. Naruto responded, with Shinigami looking at him with clearest interest. I also hold in my possession Kyuubi, and willing to part with its soul for good, but for an additional boon. And what boon would you? He who claimed the brother's powers and might for his own, and who holds the mightiest tailed beast. Shinigami asked of him. Powers of theirs I care not, but souls I shall take. Speak. What is it that you wish of me? I wish immunity from you, Shinigami. Should anybody decide to summon you through a summoning or jutsu in order to be used against me, I wish for you to stay, refuse to take my soul, until my time comes in due course. Naruto responded, with Shinigami clearly thinking it over. A very peculiar boon, but one I will grant to you, Naruto Uzumaki. Shinigami stated, with Naruto smiling to him, and Shinigami stretched his ghostly arm onto Naruto, before taking from him the 3 souls he was promised, leaving Naruto with full power of Kyuubi and the integrated powers of the 2 brothers. You have delivered on your word, I deliver now on my own. And with this, Shinigami produced from his being the dead husk of a massive black beast that resembled a horned dog, and a body of the extremely beautiful red-haired woman, who put to shame all others that Naruto saw beforehand. Our deal is concluded, Lord Shinigami. I thank you for your time. Naruto bowed with respect, as the god of death left the realm of the leave, with Naruto ready to complete his work. And now, the coup de grace. Yin-yang style. Reincarnation. And with this, Naruto used the accumulated power of Kyuubi stored in him to revive 2 extremely powerful beings, as 2 souls flowed right out of him and towards their respective bodies. The isle shook from the sheer amount of energy being produced by Naruto, as he did something that not even Sage of 6 Paths could accomplish, and he was succeeding. This was why he needed Kyuubi's powers, both yin and yang, to return to life the 2 beings of nigh equal power to it, if not greater. And now that the isle shook one more time, Naruto succeeded, as the black beast of destruction finally awoke, its missing horn restored to it, and let out a howl, before it began to transform, and soon in its place stood a woman of divine beauty, blessed with immensity in power and physical strength, with long and wild luscious mane of pale golden hair, with one red and blue-green eye. The second one opened her turquoise eyes and looked at her own hands, finally having returned that which was taken from her. Once the ritual was complete, Barghest was the first one to speak. I truly live again, she said with amazement, as she admired herself, before turning to see Grimoire in all her beauty and uncovered glory. You have succeeded, milady. Truly, only one of your magnitude could ever achieve such a feat. To that, Grimoire chuckled lightly, as she turned her gaze towards the one who returned them to life. You grant me too much credit, Barghest. The one who deserves all the praises is our shared beloved over here. Grimoire said with a sultry tone. You've done it, my love. And with this she walked and claimed the lips of the man whom she groomed and who had claimed her heart. It wasn't long before Barghest stepped up and did the same as Grimoire, as she nearly devoured her chosen husband and beloved, finally able to fully embrace and touch him as befits one with her feelings. And as Naruto reveled and enjoyed the company of his new wives, there was a strange and untouchable sense around the world, one that brought with it a promise of a great change. One that would come from the once forgotten and destroyed name, bearing the powers long thought gone.